Hey everyone, welcome to the Meaningful Revolution podcast. I'm your host and certified high performance coach, Sean Butner, and this is the holiday episode. So we're recording this early in the week before Christmas. So whichever holidays you celebrate, I hope it's filled with family and fun and relaxation and rejuvenation before we kick off 2023. Can you believe that that's happening right now? It seems like the year has flown by super quick. So I just wanted to do a quick, holiday episode to keep on with the cadence of the podcast, because that's super important to me. And I hope to you. I do these episodes because first and foremost, you all inspire me, right? I had this cool experience last week. I was at this coaching summit with my mentor Brendan Burchard and a bunch of other coaches, and I had some friends and some acquaintances and some friendly folks who came up to me and were sharing how much the podcast impacted them, and how just, hey, I started journaling. I've heard that a lot since we started because of Mike Seeley and everyone else that talked about journaling. I've had some, people talk to me about Sherry and how important that episode was for them and how touched they felt. And I bring this up not to toot my own horn here, but to just highlight that the experience on this side of the camera or this side of the microphone, however you're watching or listening to this podcast, it's usually, especially episodes like this, just me talking to my computer, which objectively is pretty funny and strange if you were to take a third-person perspective of just a grown man talking to technology. But it's those stories and hearing from y'all that really help keep me going and inspire me to continue to do this work and to lead this movement of people really living into what they find fulfilling in their life, and to really be putting out their good in the world, and trying to design our own lives so that we have the lifestyles and abundance and impact in our communities and with our organizations that is super important. So I just want to commend each and every one of you for listening. If you're here, because you are. If you're listening to this, you're here, of course, listening. I can go off on that circular logic, but it really does mean a lot to me, and so I just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It's been a very huge gift to be able to do something that impacts people or touches people or matters to people, and that's what a lot of people want. They want to know that they matter. So I figured, other than, again, showing some gratitude for you, I wanted to leave you with a couple of ideas maybe for this end of the year holiday season. First off, and we heard this so sweetly with my former guest, Sherry, that's to make sure you're telling the people around you that you appreciate them, right? Make sure you're calling extended family in this next week. Make sure that you're telling your loved ones that you love them, and create a moment. Look them in the eyes and say, hey, I love you. And I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad we get to spend this time together, because I think hopefully you haven't had the experience where you're missing people this holiday season, because so many people are. And it can be painful, but it's also a gift, because we're here and we're together and we're with each other. And so don't lose sight of that, and make sure that you're telling people that you appreciate them, that you love them. So that's one of these 3 points. Second point for the holidays, those last 2 weeks of December coming up, is to really reflect on and celebrate everything that went well for you this year. Big and small, right? this is maybe a trope in personal development, but I don't think you can have a meaningful life if you're not constantly celebrating what's amazing that's happened for you, to you, and around you. And I firmly believe that. So training your brain, your body, your being, your personality to notice that, hey, you completed that project this year. Good job. Or, hey, you made amends with that, distant relative or friend. Like, great on you for reaching out and mending that relationship. Or, hey, you hit the numbers this year for your financial goals, and that's something to celebrate too. Or, hey, you learned a new skill. You learned how to garden and not kill the tomato plants. Like, whatever it is for you, it's such a great time to celebrate. And, a lot of times, like the winter holidays that happen, Hanukkah, Christmas, there's a winter solstice that is happening, or has probably happened by the time you're listening to this podcast. These are all celebrations of light in their own right, because they're usually, centered around the shortest day of the year, at least in the northern hemisphere, right? So, we're celebrating that, we're going to have more daylight coming forward from a, physical or like astronomical standpoint, but, it's all about the light that's coming, right? So we've all had a hard year. Maybe you've had a hard year, and that's okay. There's light in front of us. There's more light ahead of us as we start out 2020, as we go into and start 2023. So I just want to leave you with that little note of hope and inspiration as we move forward. And, remember to celebrate what's been good. And the third thing to think about too is, in high performance, my mentor Brendon Burchard has this saying called honor the struggle, right? So it's not being completely hopeful and thinking that everything's going to work out perfectly in 2023. There's going to be a lot of work to do. There's going to be a lot of curveballs thrown at us. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear and a lot of this kind of anxious energy just out in the world. And if we take a quick look around and get the pulse of the world, we'll see that there's a lot of that anxiety and fear and uncertainty out there. And that's okay, right? And I think part of this meaningful revolution to me is it's really hard to feel anxious and fearful and uncertain when we are working in service of our authentic values and we're working for that life that we want for ourselves, and we're going to create it by making the world better, right? I don't think if you're someone that's like, I want a meaningful revolution that is just crushing the people around me, this is not the podcast. This is not the place for you. Like, we want people to be helping each other, bringing each other up, working through this, because we're all in this together. And so honor the struggle that's coming up, and make sure that you're excited for it, right? It shouldn't be something you're dreading. It should be something that you're looking to get in the game for. You're waking up excited and ready to get after it. So, and if you are struggling with, I don't know what to do in 2023, I don't know what I want, I don't know the plan to get there, I'm going to let you know that on January 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time in the morning, 10 a.m., I'm going to be hosting the Meaningful Revolution Challenge, right? And this is in lieu of my yearly New Year's Revolution, which, again, I have to find a different word for my marketing and products and stuff. But the Meaningful Revolution Challenge is getting clear on the outcomes you want in 2023, whether in its lifestyle, its business and career and finances, it's your feelings out in the world, and it's building that plan to make sure you follow through, getting in the right habits to make sure that you follow, that it happens, that you realize, that you achieve. And you're doing it in a community with folks that will support you. So, I have a couple of models there that we can walk through and help you think through 2023 during that challenge. And then there'll be some Q&A and maybe some prizes, so it'll be fun. So if you're interested in that experience of really getting into community and visioning out your next year and visioning out that plan to make that vision a reality, click the link below wherever you're listening to or watching this podcast episode, and you'll get free access to the Zoom link when we go live on January 2nd. So I really do hope you'll join me. I'm really excited for this. This is one of my favorite things that I do every year. And so I can't wait to have you there and hear you and meet you and get encouraged again from your energy on what you're doing here with us here in the podcast. So check out and click on that link. So with that said, guys, we're going to keep it short and sweet because it is the holidays and I don't want to be droning on and on and on about and talking in circles. But again, tell the people around you that you love them and appreciate them. Celebrate the end of this year. Like, you should be thinking like, this was such a great year, and maybe you got everything accomplished, maybe not. Let that stuff go. It's going to be a new year soon. We can refactor things that were missed, or we can really figure out the new way going forward to make sure that happens for you and honor the struggle that's going to come. So get excited for what will probably be, I don't want to say it will be a tough year. That's not super inspiring to end the podcast episode on. But just know that it will be a struggle. That's part of it. It's part of the process. And you can get through it. And I firmly believe you can. So if you don't, at least I do. So, yeah, guys, with that said, have a really happy holiday. And we'll see you next week for the end of the year episode, okay? Take care. Sean Butner signing off. Goodbye.